If you've ever used or heard the line, I'm drawing a line in the sand, I'm not crossing this line, where does that come from? That comes from Davy Crockett at the Alamo. They all knew they were going to die. They knew there wasn't a chance. Nobody's coming to help them. But are they going to take a stand? And without judgment, Davy Crockett took a stick and he drew a line in the sand. And he said, I'm here. I'm standing here. I'm not leaving. Anybody who wants to join me, because this is worth taking a stand, come on this side of the line. And if you want to stay over there, no problem. You can leave. That's where that comes from. And we talk about it all day. It's a line in the sand. Well, what is your line in the sand? Where have they gone too far for you? And you'll say, I'm not going any further. For me, it's already past that. But let me just ask you, here's your family, here's your line in the sand. Do any of these qualify as your line in the sand? Back in April 2020, police officers in Illinois, they disrupted a church service that was being held in their own parking lot. The government couldn't have those crazy Christians worshiping their God outside in a parking lot, and they were all in their cars. The decree had to come out. COVID orders trumped everything. Now, how many people in that church that day desperately needed spiritual guidance? How many of them were depending on it to get by? A crucial American ideal, principle, and practice was broken for about a year. Why didn't every church in the country announce solidarity in the face of this? Why didn't every city council join them in that fight? I still wonder about the ramifications of this if religious people refuse to stand. Who will? What did this open us up to? Well, 6 months later, a Canadian pastor was put on his knees and arrested after returning from the United States. His crime, as per the Canadian government, breaking COVID protocols. But what he was really doing was going to American churches and warning how everything he was now seeing happening in the church is just like what he saw in communist government-run Poland when he ran away and escaped as a child. Is this part of your line? How far does this go? What happens the next time the government comes knocking on our church doors? Will there be a line? And we say, sorry. Read the Constitution. Is that a line for your family? You know, by the way, it's not just COVID. I mean, COVID, did you notice there were no religious exemptions for the COVID vaccine? Sorry. Doesn't matter what your faith tells you. Nope. No religious exemptions. Wow. And have you noticed what medicine is doing right now? What medicine is doing to our children? And if you take a stand that my religion says gender is God assigned, you don't have a right to say that anymore. They can take your kids. Is that a line in your sand? Is it EDU with critical race theory or critical sex education or trans drag shows, mutilation of children, loss of parents' rights? Sexuality education is still being pushed in our school all over the country. We've shown you the images of the curriculum before, and I can't stomach it. Images of naked children, sex acts, it's obscene. If someone was in a park, an adult, and they showed that to your children, they'd be in jail. At least in the America I grew up in. I don't know anymore. In schools, it's fine to show these. A-OK. And parents, you don't have a say in it. CRT is also infesting our school after school. When parents try to fight back, activists continue to slip it in under the guise of programs like social emotional learning. They are brainwashing our children. That is true. That is not hyperbole. Is this a line? How about the complete transformation and redesign of social order? Okay, do you remember It Takes a Village? Oh, that was cute. Takes a village. Then they started to say, your kids aren't really yours. And we thought that was nuts. No, they belong to the community. Do you remember that? Now they're saying out loud, end the nuclear family. Oh, and if you're white, They got to get your kids away from you to help your child get all that whiteness out of them. If you're not white, they need your child to convince them that all your hard work in giving them the life that they now lead isn't because of you, because of their status as a victim. Oh, and if you're Hispanic, yeah, your whole language is racist. It's not Latino or Latina, it's Latinx or Latinx. Sounds ridiculous. Why are we buying into it? There is method to the madness here, and I'm going to show you just what that is. Most importantly, I'm going to show you how to undo it. So what else are your uncrossable lines? Maybe it's a rule of law. Crime that's going unpunished. Crime waves sweeping the country, coinciding with the push to stop prosecuting criminals. Opening up prisons. It's gotten so bad in New Orleans that they are now sending civilians to respond to crime scenes. Oh, and they just released, hey, by the way, you know, if you've applied to be a cop before, but, you know, you had a record, don't worry about it. Come on in. They don't have enough cops to keep up with crime, so now they're starting to hire criminals. The border. It's out of control, over 2 million encounters on the southern border, and those are the ones we know of. And why are they coming? Because they know they'll be let go. They know that the rule of law now means nothing in the United States. And that's a hell of a first impression as they arrive here in the country. I mean, if law means nothing to them when they enter, and they see what's happening on our streets, you think people are going to respect our laws going forward? Does your line in the sand involve the economy at all? Inflation is up all across the board, with an exception of gas, but that's because we've depleted our strategic oil reserve on the eve of what could be World War III. I don't know. I have a problem with that. We know we're in a recession, but they changed the definition of a recession. I think most of us fear that depression could be next. And what do our leaders do? They double down on spending. Yesterday, the United Nations was instructing our central bank, the Federal Reserve, what to do. They demanded that they stop raising interest rates and start printing money again. They double down on industry-killing legislation. I told you I wouldn't mention political parties in the show, but I don't have to when it comes to the economy. They all suck at this. They never change. And who's suffering? Them or you and the average American? We are living in strange societal destabilization and crisis everywhere. It's real. And collapse is a near future scenario. How many times in the past decade or so have you heard the words civil war or national divorce? People feel they don't have a choice. There is no compromise anymore because you can't sit down at a table for give and take when both sides aren't willing to give and take. Right now, it's not like the Civil War where it's North and South. It's neighbor against neighbor, even family member against family member. And meanwhile, we're being told you have to get used to this. This is the future. All of this is normal.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.